What's up, everybody? And today we are doing another Russia-Ukraine update. There's been some big updates that I'm sure some of you are aware of and some of you are not. We're going to talk about them. You might be wondering why I'm in a tank top. I just had a sweaty gaming moment where we finished Halo Infinite. It is actually the final Halo Infinite video. We played through all the Halo games. It's taken us over a year, and we finished it yesterday, and it was a ton of fun. If you've got recommendations for the next video games, leave them in the comment section down below. But we're not here to talk about video games. We're here to talk about the Ukraine-Russia situation. But before we get started with that, we've got a question of the day. It comes from Samuel Vandy Wally? Samuel Van der Wally? I apologize if I get that wrong, mate. I really do. It says, question, will you ever travel in other countries? Not only the USA and Canada, but maybe countries in Europe and so on. Obviously, I grew up in England, so I've traveled all around Europe quite a bit anyway. We're in the bus, so we're limited to where we can drive. I know we can probably get a ferry somewhere. Our plan is to go down to Mexico at some point, probably next winter. Our plan is to go north right now. As of watching this, we're not there right now because we've traveled away, but we're in southern Texas. We're at Corpus Christi. We've left there now, and I'm going to a Renaissance festival over this weekend, which is going to be a ton of fun. Which reminds me, that might be why there may be a lack in a couple videos, but I'm going to try and get some live videos out to you as well and do some live streams, okay, guys? But with that being said, thank you for your question. We do plan on traveling to Canada, Mexico, and maybe some other South American countries, but we'll see what will happen next winter. If you want your question answered, leave it in the comment section down below, and we'll get to that. But before... No, there's nothing else. Oh, merch down below and all that good stuff. But let's shut up. Let's just shut up and let's talk about the Russia-Ukraine situation. Again, we're using the BBC. Very important. And then we're going to go over to the live map and talk more about this. And you can probably already see what I'm going to talk about. But let's get started with this summary right here. Ukraine Deputy PM urges residents of eastern regions of Kharkiv, Luhansk, and Donetsk to evacuate as fears grow that Russia will intensify attacks there. So we've heard a lot recently as a lot of Russian troops are leaving Kiev, or the surrounding area of Kiev. They've just been killing civilians left, right, and center, and they've been doing this all around the country. So if you're out there in Ukraine right now, please be careful because they are killing civvies on the way out. They're sore losers, they've lost, and they're going to kill civvies on the way out. So please be careful if you're out there. It has to be done now because later the people will be under fire and face a threat of death, says Irana. I can't even pronounce that. I apologize. Yeah, again, they're kind of still talking about it. Basically, what's happening is Russia know that they're losing and they're embarrassed. And what they're doing is on the way out of the country, they're just killing anything that moves. So please be very aware of that if you're in the area and just be very careful. They're running. They've got the tails. They've got the tails between the legs. They're definitely scared and they're definitely a failure. And they're gonna retaliate from what they can do, and that's just kill civilians. So please be careful if you're out there. Okay, guys. This is where I'm getting a bit worried with Putin and his ego and where he's going to go with it. Is he going to start nuking? Is he going to start gassing? Wouldn't surprise me because he is a nutter. He is a crazy person at the end of the day, so we've got to be careful. The US imposing sanctions on Vladimir Putin's adult daughters and targets Russian banks following allegations of Russian war crimes in Ukraine. There's no allegations. We've seen the videos. I get there's the allegations, but we've seen it. It's facts. The Russians have committed war crimes, and I'm glad that the US is putting more sanctions on them. US President Joe Biden says the measures will rise the economy. I'm sorry, guys. I've got a little bit of dyslexia, and I'm a bit ramped up. US President Joe Biden says the measures will raise the economic pressure on Mr. Putin. It will. It will. It'll raise the pressure, but the pressure's already there right now. And I don't think he gives a shit what people think about him. I think he's going to do what he's going to do anyway. No one's taking him out of office. The UK freezes the assets of Russia's largest bank, Sberbank, and bans all British investments in Russia. The EU is also preparing further sanctions. So we're just getting more and more sanctions here. We need basically some way of being like, look, you're not allowed to do these war crimes, and this is what's going to happen if you do that. What that does is it prevents other countries from doing the same thing because they'll be like, okay, if we start doing crazy stuff, we're going to get all these sanctions and our economic, environment is going to be absolutely destroyed. So that's what they're trying to set an example right here. 25 women and girls have said they were raped by Russian forces in Bucha, says senior Ukrainian officials tells the BBC. No surprise, they're already killing civvies. It wouldn't surprise me if they're doing other atrocious things. That's an absolute disgrace and should be added to the tally of more war crimes that Russia are doing right now. Not just Putin, the Russian forces are committing war crimes, and they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. NATO's foreign ministers are meeting for 2 days to talk on how best to support Ukraine as war continues. The war is continuing. We are seeing Russian troops leaving, but the war is continuing. What happened on Wednesday? Recording this, it is Wednesday the 6th right now at 5 p.m. Central Time in the US. So we may be a little bit behind when this comes out, but this is what's happening right now. Donbass. Thousands of people are trying to escape Donbass ahead of Russia's expected offense in eastern Ukraine. Ukraine officials are appealing to the people in the area. Take this opportunity to flee while it is safe. We know that Russia are killing civilians, so please be careful. Russian forces are trying to surround Ukraine forces to take control of the entire Donbass, which is made up of the region of Donetsk. And I wish I could pronounce these names better, guys. I'm sorry. The Red Cross has helped to lead to safety a convoy of about 1,000 refugees from the besieged port city of Mariupol. I don't know what that clicking is with my mic. I do apologize. So again, it's about getting people out. It's about the humanitarian aspect right now. That's what they're trying to do as much as they possibly can. But at the same time, Russia are killing civvies. So we have to be very careful. Elsewhere in Ukraine, more than 400 people are missing from the town of Hostomel, our local officials say. The town bore the brunt of Russian advances on Ukraine's capital, Kiev, among the Bucha and Ypres. So we know about this. We know about this already, how drastic it is. Survivor accounts are still trickling out of Bucha. We know that this Bucha place has just been absolutely ransacked, where hundreds of people were reported to have been killed by Russian soldiers. We know that the Russians basically just drove through and killed all the civvies, which is atrocious. Global developments. The US has aimed new sanctions, yet we know about it on the daughters. More banks being froze. The European leaders are basically trying to do some more bans, exporting Russian coal. The Russian president says sanctions are the price his country must pay for freedom. Shut the hell up. Pope Francis has condemned the massacre of civilians in Ukraine city of Bucha. Hungary's newly re-elected prime minister spoke to Putin on Wednesday and urged him to consider a ceasefire. The US Treasury Secretary warned that the blanket ban on Russian oil imports would trigger skyrocketing energy prices in Europe. No surprise there. No surprise. All stuff we kind of already are aware of. The fact that Russia are killing civvies. Apparently the town that they went through and destroyed was pretty horrific. And again, they need to be held accountable. Look at all the red. Gone from Kiev. All the red's gone. Doesn't mean that they're not fighting there, because there's definitely still contested area. I'm guessing there's still quite a lot of places here that are taken. Drone videos of trenches evacuated by Russians in Chernobyl. But look at it, it's all gone. Obviously, they're still fighting down here. Again, as always, all the red marks that are Russians, it's all shelling, because it's all they're capable of doing. They can't fight on the ground, they're just shelling people. And if they can fight on the ground, it's just killing civvies. That's all they're doing. More explosives in Kharkiv, shelling. It's all the same stuff. It's all the Russians are able to do is shell. But they've been kicked back out of Kiev. Kiev is now back into the hands of you. Well, Kiev never was lost, but the surrounding area was a worry. I was worried that they were going to take this lower area right here, because basically they had this. Kind of, right? They had that, and they had this. Let me see if I can get this done. They basically had this, all this area, and then it was basically like that. That's what Russia had, and now it's completely gone. Back to the Ukraine hands, which is fantastic. We know there's a lot of mercenaries out there helping, a lot of US soldiers, UK soldiers that aren't technically in the British military and the American military. They're all mercenaries. They are helping, and it's definitely helping a lot, because look at this. Russia have been kicked out of the surrounding area of Kiev. And we've got more shelling down in the bottom here. This is where we've got to start worrying now. All this lower area, if we can kick them out of here. Oh, I'm saying we, like I'm part of this. I'm not. If the Ukrainians can kick them out of this area, they're doing fantastic. But I think Russia are really going to push this area. It wouldn't surprise me if they push and push and push until they can't do it anymore. And when they do start to get pushed back in these areas, that's when I'm worried that Putin is going to take more drastic actions because he's a bit of a sore loser, isn't he? The Kremlin, a phone call between Putin and Hungarian Prime Minister in Ukraine. Yep. So, apart from the fact that Russia is still losing, there's not that much of an update. They're losing and they're killing civilians because they're losing. That's the down low. That's the down low. Let's have a look here. EU plan to ban Russian coal stalled by concerns. Just ban it. Butcher killings appear to be premeditated. Yeah, of course they are. They know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. Former England footballer Matt Letizia has stepped down from an ambassador role at his ex-club Southampton after backlash over a controversial tweet about Ukraine. Oh, jeez. Stop sticking your nose where it shouldn't be. For God's sake. But that's the update. Russia are still losing, and they're a sore loser because they're going around killing civvies. So if you're in the area, if you're in the Ukraine area, I know there are people who message me who are watching this from Ukraine. Please be careful. Because if you're on the streets and Russian troops come through, they will try and gun you down. They will. Because they're cowards, and that's all they can do. Either shell or gun civilians. That's all they can do. So please be careful, guys. Other than that, let's hope that these sanctions still put some more ends on Putin. I think there might be some advances from the south and southeast, but I think ultimately that's going to be watered down, and Russia are going to be running from that area in the next few weeks as well. I honestly think that. I think that when that happens, we need to start having a little talk about potential consequences that Putin will do, because he'll be a trapped rat, basically. So, members, you're beautiful, you're amazing. I love you. I'll see you in the next video. Links down below to all my socials and all that good stuff. If you want to get a hold of me, Instagram and Twitter is the best way to do it. Other than that, I love you all. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye.